Hare Krishna. So welcome everyone to our Srimad Bhagavatam class. Thank you for coming, and those who are online. So we'll begin with our prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajata Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamsha हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा. So welcome everyone. Leave it to no problem. So we are discussing from the second canto and we are on chapter 9. So last time we discussed how this is a question answer going on between Parikshit Maharaj and Shukdev Goswami. So in the 8th chapter of second canto, Parikshit Maharaj asked few questions, 28 questions actually he asked. So in response to that, Shukdev Goswami, he is quoting a conversation which is happening between Brahmaji and the Supreme Lord. And we know the story, we know the history. Brahmaji, in the beginning of the creation, he was completely confused. He didn't know what is happening. Who am I? All the JSD questions were coming in his mind. Why I'm here, what I'm supposed to do. And then he heard two words. Anybody knows the two words? Tapa, tapa, austerity. And then he did tapasya for 1,000 celestial years. And then Lord revealed his own abode, and Lord actually, sorry, oh, you're not able to hear? Oh, okay. Actually, I could not arrange the mic in the short notice. Anyways, I'll try to speak a little louder. So then, so Lord revealed his own abode, and then he said, I am very pleased with your austerities. And he said, austerity is the heart, is my heart. And then he praised Brahmaji and he showed his own abode. He showed various things which are happening in his own abode. And then he shook hands with Brahmaji. That's what Prabhupada writes. And then Brahmaji, he asks three questions. So we had completed till 25th verse of the 9th chapter. So Brahmaji, he asks three questions and one request he makes to the Lord. So he says, oh my Lord, please tell me about your material and spiritual forms. That is the same question of Parikshit Maharaj, as you can see in the slide. And second question he asks is, how are different energies of the Lord working? What is the role of material energy and what is the role of spiritual energy? So that is the second question. And then third, he asks how the Lord carries out his pastimes in relation to his energies. That is also the same question of Parikshit Maharaj. So basically, we can see in Bhagavatam when speaker and audience, they are in sync. So the audience may ask the same question which is asked previously by somebody else. And that is what happening here. So Parikshit Maharaj, he asked a question to Shukdev Goswami, and Brahmaji is asking the same question to the Lord previously. So that is what is happening here. And then he makes one request. He says, "Oh my Lord, as I am engaged in your service, so there are two possibilities. I may become proud or I may become lazy. So please tell me, how can I serve without pride and without lethargy, without getting bound?" So Prabhupada writes in the purport that Krishna gives the intelligence to a person who is devoted to him. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. Anyone who surrenders to Krishna, worships him regularly, Krishna gives him the intelligence, how he can come to the Supreme Lord. So Prabhupada writes, so pure devotees, they are not proud of their progress. None of the devotees, they should think, oh, just see, I have become so advanced. I am practicing since so many years and I am doing so many services. I am empowered by the Lord. That is the right attitude. Nothing is mine. Whatever we have, it is coming from the Supreme Lord. Otherwise, we are no one. Whatever energy, whatever capacity we have, whatever skills we have, they are given by Krishna. Paurusham Rishu, that's what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. I am the energy in all the people. So therefore, Prabhupada writes that one should not be proud of the knowledge which they are receiving. And Brahmaji says, oh my Lord, you have shaken hands with me. You know what? Just imagine if Maharaj has come today and so many of us were there. So if Maharaj comes and, directly comes to somebody and, shakes hand with you. So how will you feel? Wow, I'm so great. We may not feel like that. We may feel blessed. But Brahmaji is saying, you have shaken hands with me and, just like a friend shakes hand with another friend. So some pride may come in my mind. Oh, just see, I have become equal with Lord. That's why he's making handshake with me. So therefore, he's saying, please tell me, how can I serve without becoming proud? So we'll see what happens, because this is a very interesting thing. When we are on the path of spiritual life, two things happen. When we are successful, we become proud. And when we become successful, then we become little negligent in our services, in our practices, right? Oh, I am doing it regularly. Anyways, every day I'm chanting 16 rounds. Ek din nahi karenge to chalega. Anyways, I'm going every week or every third day to temple. Okay, I'll not go sometimes. Negligent. So success leads to pride and negligence leads to bondage. So therefore, Brahmaji is saying, please show mercy and guide me so that I should not become proud and I should not become bound again. May I not be carried away by passion and ignorance. So that is his request. Because, when one is in the mode of passion, what happens? We try to enjoy whatever we have received. Whatever good things we have received in our practice of spiritual life. Oh, by coming to spiritual life, I have received so many nice things. I have become more wealthier. I have learned so many skills. I have learned how to sing, how to speak, how to manage. Then the tendency is we try to keep on enjoying it. Ragi karma phala prepsur lubdho himsatmako ashuchi. So that's what Bhagavad Gita says. Ragi, if you are attached to the results of your action, then it is natural that you are in the mode of passion. And when passion is not there, if you are told, okay, whatever you have done, you should not enjoy the results, then the natural question is, then why should I work? I'll not do. Main seva nahi karunga. I'll not do service. So the result is inactivity. So therefore, Brahmaji is saying, I should not become proud and I should not become inactive. I should not neglect my services. So therefore, Prabhupada writes that Brahmaji, although Krishna is coming and shaking hands with him, he is not thinking I have become equal to Lord. He is conscious of his position that it is mercy of the Lord. So whatever we receive in our spiritual life, They are all completely blessings. It is all mercy. Nothing is ours. So that is what is the mood of Brahmaji here. Prabhupada gives the example of Hanumanji. Prabhupada writes, sometimes devotees of the Lord, they are more empowered than the Lord. Lord Ram had to walk over the bridge to cross the ocean. Hanumanji just jumped and he could go. So Hanumanji didn't think, just see, I just jumped and came, and Lord Ram has to walk on the bridge. He's not thinking like this. He understands, okay, whatever I am is by the mercy of the Lord. So that is the mood of a devotee. So pure devotee is never proud. He thinks I'm just an instrument. That's what Krishna says to Arjuna. Nimitta matram bhava sabyasachi. Become instrument in my hands and I'll do wonders. So Prabhupada always, tells, and the illusion which can come in the mind of a spiritual practitioner is, oh, I am also having the same qualities as the Lord. Maybe I am the Lord. That is called impersonalism. So Prabhupada is very much against in that context. So these are the three questions and one request. So in 26th verse, he has asked, oh, please tell me about your spiritual and material forms. 27th verse, he asks about Yogamaya and Mahamaya. And in 28th verse, he asks how the Lord works in relation to his energies. And then he makes a request in the 29th verse. So now Lord starts speaking. And in this 31st verse, he tells, So we'll recite this verse. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Jnanam Param Guhyam Me Yad Vijnana Samanvitam Sarahasyam Tadangam Cha Grihana Gaditam Maya. So now Lord is speaking to Brahmaji. Says, oh Brahmaji, I'll speak about four things. I'll give you my most confidential knowledge, Gyan. Jnanam, which is Param Guhyam, very confidential. Lord does not give this knowledge to anyone. He gives only to selected people. If somebody goes to Krishna and asks for some material things, he'll say, okay, take it. You want liberation? Okay, take it. Bhakti, he will not give so easily. Rajan patir gururalam bhavatam yadunam daivam priya kulpati pachaking karova astveva manga bhagavan bhajatam mukundo muktim dadati karhichit smana bhakti yogam. So Narada Muni is telling to Yudhishthira Maharaj, O king, Krishna can give anything, but he'll not give bhakti so easily. Why? Because Krishna is controlled by his devotees. So that knowledge by which Krishna becomes controlled by his devotees is most confidential. Param Guhyam. So Lord is telling, I'll tell you this Gyan. Second, I'll give you this Vigyan also. One is theoretical knowledge, another is realized knowledge. I am not this body, I am soul. What is that? Is that theoretical knowledge for most of us or realized knowledge? Yeah, some of the realized hai to aap idhar aa jaiye. Yeah, it is. It will become realized, or it may have become realized for few. But for practitioners, beginners, it is a theoretical knowledge. We are still at the bodily level. Parikshit Maharaj was fasting for 7 days. And he's not telling, thoda break dijiye na, thoda prasad leke aata hu. I'll just take lunch and come. He's on the level of soul. So Vigyan means you realize that you're not this body, I'm not this body, I'm soul. So Brahmaji, Krishna is telling, Lord Vishnu is telling, I'll give you this knowledge and realized knowledge also, Gyan and Vigyan. And then I'll tell you most confidential secret knowledge, Sarahasyam. What is that? That is Prema Bhakti. So that's what Chakravarti Thakur says. So Lord is giving him knowledge of the soul, realization of the soul, and he's giving him pure devotional service also. And then He says, okay, although you did not ask the fourth thing, I'll tell you something more. Because you may think that, Array, how do I reach this prema bhakti? I'll tell you the process. Tad angam. Tad angam means the process of devotional service. Sadhana bhakti. So therefore, now Bhagwan, Lord Supreme Lord is telling, I'll tell you my form. I'll tell you about prema. I'll tell you about sadhana. So Prabhupada writes, what is happening here? Lord is revealing himself. We cannot reach the Lord by our own strength. As they say, we cannot barge into the kingdom of God. What to speak of kingdom of God? We cannot barge into any other country also. We need visa. So unless Lord reveals himself, we cannot get his darshan or realize him. Athapite teva padambuja dvaya prasadaleshan vrihita evahi janati tattvam bhagavan mahimno na chanya ekopi chiram vichinvan. Anybody who has received a lesha means what? A drop. Anyone who has received a drop of mercy of Lord, they can know the Lord. So now here Lord is revealing himself, this most confidential Sarahasyam. And then he says, I'll tell you something more. Yavanaham yatha bhavo yad rupa guna karmakah tathaiva tattva vijnanam astute madanugrahat. I'll tell you the details of my form also. Yavanatham yatha bhavo. I'll tell you the details. I'll tell you my transcendental existence. Rupa, guna, and karma. I'll tell you about my form, my qualities, and my activities. And then tathaiva tattva vijnanam. So let that be awakened in your heart by my mercy. Astute mad anugraha. So in spiritual life, we have to be completely dependent on the Lord. That is the most important criteria. Prabhupada writes a very interesting thing. He gives an example. He says, just like a father discloses all the secrets of his property to a son who is most worthy, who knows how to handle money, who is trustworthy. He will not tell the details to a son who is always squandering money. So therefore, we have to become the trusted servants, trusted sons of Krishna. Krishna loves everyone, but he trusts few. That is important. He loves all living entities, but he trusts only few. And we have to become the trusted sons of the Lord. So therefore, Prabhupada writes, when somebody shows his faithful behavior by sincerely chanting, practicing, then Lord understands, okay, he is a very trusted servant of mine. So these are some details of Chatushloki. So as we discussed in 33rd verse, now it is coming Chatushloki. Chatushloki means the 4 verses of Bhagavatam, which gives all the information of Bhagavatam. It is like a cotton ball. It can be compressed into a very small thing, and it can be made into a big ball also. So these 4 verses of Bhagavatam, they are like the condensed cotton ball. So these 4 verses, they tell us how to develop our relationship with Krishna, Sambandha, how to practice that, Abhidheya, and then what will we achieve, that is Prayojan. So these are the 3 things of spiritual life. So now we'll begin with the Chatushloki, the most important verses. Ahameva sameva agre nanyad yad sadasatparam paschadaham yadetaccha yo avashishyet swasmyaham. You'll be thinking, अरे पढ़ना ही मुश्किल है, समझें कैसे? Because further verses are more difficult. But these are nutshell verses. You should understand, Brahmaji is a condensed form of intelligence. He has 4 heads. His body is made up of intelligence. So for Brahmaji, Krishna, he didn't have to struggle. So yeah, you can just push it ahead a little and you can just sit there. So for us, we have all the great teachers and acharyas at our help to make us understand, okay, what are these nutshell verses? Otherwise, it may look little difficult. Well, Brahmaji, what he is asking and what is Lord answering, there is no relation only. For a person who has not read the Acharya's commentaries and Prabhupada's translations and purport, it may not make sense. So now Krishna is answering the first question. So the first question was, please tell me about your spiritual and material form. So now Krishna is saying, Brahmaji, aham, I existed. Eva asam agre. In the beginning, I existed. Na anyat. There was nothing in the beginning. There was no other cause of creation than me. I created everything. And then after the annihilation of the creation happens, who remains? I remain. Paschadham yadetacha. Paschad means after the creation is destroyed, what remains? The Supreme Lord remains. So Lord is telling, my form is spiritual. I am not destroyed when the material creation is destroyed. Chakravarti Thakur, he goes into a very personal, explanation. He says, when Lord is speaking this, he is touching his forefinger to his chest. I existed in the beginning of creation. So therefore, we should understand that Krishna is talking about material world, not the spiritual world. Spiritual world is never destroyed. It is always there. And if you see the purports, Prabhupada and Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur is giving a galaxy of quotations from various scriptures proving how Krishna is the beginning of creation. Not even Shiva, not even Brahmaji. He is the one who existed in the beginning of creation. And there are so many verses. I'm not going to go into the detail of that. So he says, my form is spiritual. I am not material like everyone in this world. That's what Arjuna asked to Krishna. When Krishna told Arjuna, I spoke this knowledge to sun god in the beginning of creation. Arjuna said, wait a minute. You and I are of same age. And sun god is millions of years old. How come you spoke this to sun god? So there also Krishna says, my form is not like you. I am spiritual. I think the AC is working or not? Not working right. Yeah, just a minute. There's some problem. Just a minute. Okay. So now Lord Vishnu is telling that my form is eternal and my abode is also eternal. So it is not that when this material creation is destroyed, my abode is also destroyed. No, it is not like that. The supreme abode of the Lord is always eternal. And the devotees of the Lord are always eternal. So somebody may ask, but when everybody is destroyed, all the creation is destroyed, who is serving you, O my Lord? So Lord says, no, my devotees are there always in the spiritual world. They are not destroyed. They are always there. So therefore, I existed means it refers to the material world. I existed in the beginning of the creation and I existed in the end of the creation. But all the other devotees, they are in the spiritual world. They are also existing. So they don't get destroyed. So this is the first verse. Then second verse. Now Krishna is telling about, Lord is telling about his energies. ऋतेऽर्थं यत् प्रतीयेत न प्रतीयेत चात्मनि तद्विद्यादात्मनो मायां यथा भासो यथा तमः Hriday Artham. So this is talking about the Lord's material energy and spiritual energy, Yoga Maya and Mahamaya. Generally, what is our conception about Mahamaya? The material energy of the Lord takes us away from the Lord, right? But there is another understanding also. In addition to that, material energy acts favorably also. It is not just acting unfavorably, it is acting favorably also. So material energy has three actions: pradhan, vidya and avidya. This is all technical. So the pradhan provides all the ingredients for the creation of this material world. Avidya potency makes a person forget him about his spiritual position. And vidya potency starts working when somebody starts thinking, oh, is there anything apart from this material world? I'm just suffering here. There should be something which will give me permanent happiness. So this understanding leads to vidya potency of the Lord. So there is another understanding which is given about how material energy works. So when we go to theater to watch a movie, so what is the first thing which happens in the movie theater? Anyone can tell? Before that, darkness, all the lights go off, right? So that is like covering our perception of things around us, right? That is called avaranatmika, avaran, And then what happens next? Another light starts. That is called vikshep atmika. And then everybody is glued to the screen. So that is what happens in the material world also. When we come in this material world, first thing which happens is we forget our relationship with Krishna. Our knowledge is covered. And then another knowledge is projected on us. What is that? I'm the enjoyer. I'm the controller. So that is what is happening by Mahamaya. So Krishna is telling, Lord is telling about his energy. So he says, one should understand that by my material energy, one perceives real things by vidya, yad vidyad atmano mayam, and one perceives those things which are false by avidya. So that is the Lord's dealing with the Mahamaya. And then Lord deals with Yoga Maya. How Lord deals with Yoga Maya? He says, when Lord is dealing with his devotees, sometimes he allows the devotees to see some things, and sometimes he covers the perception of the devotees. For example, when Yashoda Maya was seeing in the mouth of Krishna, what did she saw? What did she see? Universe. So Krishna revealed her that universe in his mouth. And then when the pastime was over, Krishna saw that my mother, her perception is changing. She starts thinking, oh, maybe he's God. He's not my son. So then he again covered his Yoga Maya potency. So that is how Lord deals with Yoga Maya and Mahamaya. So that is the understanding. So there are lots of things written about these verses. I'm just giving the brief detail, and that is also becoming too much, right? I can see. Kya chal raha hai? So Prabhupada writes, whenever there is forgetfulness about the Lord. Okay. So Prabhupada writes that whenever we are forgetful about the Lord, and when we start thinking that I am the enjoyer, I have come here to enjoy this world, then we come under Mahamaya. Mahamaya means that energy of the Lord which facilitates our desires. She is not a a very cruel person who wants us to be away from Krishna. She is just facilitating our desires. Mahamaya is basically presented by Durga Devi. She is Mahamaya. So whatever desires we have, she facilitates the desires. And Yogamaya means the internal potency of the Lord, represented by Srimati Radharani. So when a person starts understanding, okay, I am not this body, I am soul, it seems like that. He's still under Mahamaya. Sorry, Prabhuji, आपने call किया मैं, but I could not. Oh, okay. So he's still under Mahamaya because the Vidya potency of this Mahamaya helps a living entity also. It is not that she's just taking a person away from Krishna. She helps also through her Vidya potency. But if somebody wants to realize Bhagavan, then Yogamaya potency comes in picture. Yogamaya is represented by Srimati Radharani. Basically, Yogamaya has three types, three Shaktis, Sandhini, Samvit and Ladini. Out of that, Ladini gives happiness. So Prabhupada also writes in detail how Mahamaya is acting in this world. Prabhupada says, people who are having a poor fund of knowledge, they think I have created, we can create life again. And they deny the existence of God. And they say, Prabhupada writes, that medical practitioners, they deny the existence of soul. But when a person dies, they cannot revive them back. So that's how Prabhupada describes how, all the advancement of science and all the advancement of knowledge, what is it doing? It is just, spreading the influence of material energy. As Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, अविद्या जत मायार वैभव तोमार भजने बाधा मोह जन्मिया अनित्य संसारे जीव के कराए गाधा. Looks very nice to hear, but Bhaktivinoda Thakur is giving all the gali. When people they start working and trying to get material education, what are they doing? They're just working like donkeys. In Bhagavatam, few animals are celebrated always. Donkeys, pigs, dogs, camels. I think the other day we were discussing about that also. So that is the Lord's dealing with two potencies, Yogamaya and Mahamaya. And then he says, there are lots of things. Pradhan. Pradhan means that potency which provides material for the creation of this material world. That is the Pradhan. We discussed in the creation. 24 elements. Pradhan. So that is the job of Mahamaya. So I'm not going to the detail because details are a lot. So anyways, we'll go to the third verse. How Lord acts in relation to his energies. Yatha mahanti bhutani bhuteshu chavacheshvano pravishtanya pravishtani tatha teshu nateshvaham. So he says, Lord is telling now, I myself existed in the beginning of the creation, and I am inside my creation, and I am outside also. So that's how Lord is dealing with his energies. Just like Yatha, just like Mahanti Bhutani. Bhutani means the elements. All the elements of this material creation, they combine to forms, to make certain forms. So all the elements enter certain forms, but it is not that all the elements they are there in one form. It is unlimited. Material creation is unlimited. So he's saying, just as the elements enter into all beings, but they are also separately existing. Similarly, I enter my creation, but I am existing separately also. And then he says, when I am dealing with the material world, I am detached. I am not so much attached to the material world, but when I am dealing with the spiritual world, I am very much attached. So Lord is attached to his devotees. He's not attached to those who are not practicing spiritual life. That's what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita about Paramatma. What is the role of Paramatma? Upadrashta Anumanta, overseer and sanctioner. But when a person enters spiritual life, Lord becomes an active guide. Lord guides the devotee. Okay, now you have to take shelter of this person. Go to this place. They are nice people. Some people, they come and they like this place. Who is doing that? Krishna in the heart as Paramatma. He is inspiring. Oh, go to this temple. They are nice people. Hear them. They are speaking nice philosophy. Who is doing that? Krishna is doing that. So therefore, whenever somebody takes shelter of Krishna, Lord takes personal, care of that person. Pravishtani, apravishtani. So he says, Lord is telling to Brahmaji, Brahma, I am dealing in a very personal way with all the devotees in the spiritual world. But in the material world, those who are not my devotees, I just put them under the material energy. You take care of them. It's like Prime Minister or any state head. He takes care of all the citizens, but if somebody is committing a crime, then they are put in the jail. And then the jailer is told, okay, you take care of these people. So the jailer of this world is Durga. So they are put into this material creation under Durga Devi. But in the spiritual world, Krishna is dealing with everyone personally. And he likes to do that. And Chakravarti Thakur writes that I enter the heart of all the devotees, and I am outside also because I want to show my beauty to all my devotees. So that's why I am existing separately also. Varaha Pidam Natvaravapu Karnayo Karnikaram Vibradvasa Kanakakapisha Vaijayantim Chamala Randranenum Madara Sudaya Purayan Gopa Brinde Brindaranyam Sapadaраmanam Pravishad Gita Kirti. When Krishna is coming with all his cowherd friends and entering Brindavan, entering again the village of Gokula. So the gopis, they are looking at the beauty of Krishna, having a peacock feather in his hair, wearing a yellow garment, surrounded by his friends. So that is the beauty which Krishna wants to reveal to all the devotees. So therefore he is separate also. If Krishna enters the hearts of everyone and is not outside, how devotees will see the beautiful form of Krishna? So therefore Prabhupada writes, people who are having a very limited knowledge, they cannot understand who is God. Prabhupada writes an interesting thing. Spiritually developed person is able to have a television of the kingdom of God always reflected within his heart. He can see whatever is happening in the spiritual world. It's like ordinary television, we can see things which are happening at a distance away. That's how Lord deals with his devotees. And then, what was the fourth request? How I will do my service without becoming proud or negligent. So Krishna is telling, when you practice sadhana bhakti, you will not become proud, because devotees will keep you humble. Etavad eva jigyasyam tattva jigyasunatmanaha anvaya vyatirekabhyam yatsyat sarvatra sarvada. So this is tad angam, that is about sadhan bhakti. So therefore Krishna is saying, therefore one must search up to this. Etavat eva jigyasyam. Jigyasa means question, inquiry. One should inquire up to this. Anyone who is searching the Supreme Lord, Tattva Jigyasa, they should search up to the process of practicing sadhana bhakti. Anvaya Vyatireka, this is a very interesting word. And this is described in great detail. What is this Anvaya Vyatireka? He says, one should find out that path which will give you positive result. That is called Anvaya. Some technical understanding. Anvaya means when you practice something, you get the result. Vyatireka means when you don't practice it, you don't get the result. And this path should be practiced. You should be able to practice that path in all circumstances. Sarvatra, sarvada. Always and in all circumstances. One must find out that path. And what is that path? That is the path of bhakti. Not karma, not jnana, not yoga. So that is what now Krishna is explaining here. So Krishna is telling that you asked about how you will be free from lethargy. Only by practice of bhakti you can become free from lethargy. You can become free from pride. You can become free from bondage. So therefore one must endeavor to practice spiritual life. So that is the understanding. So therefore Chakravarti Thakur explains what is this Anvaya and Vyatirek. If you want to find out which is the best path, for example, if somebody wants to find, okay, what is the ingredient in sweet rice which is giving sweetness? So what are the different ways we can find out? First is taste each ingredient separately. Okay, rice, not sweet. Sugar, milk, not sweet so much. Sugar is really sweet. So sugar is giving the sweetness. That is a direct way of finding. And what is the indirect way? Okay, you make sweet rice without rice, sweet rice without milk, sweet rice without sweet. Okay, when we made sweet rice without sweet, it was not sweet. That is an indirect way of finding, what is giving sweetness. So therefore, to find out, karma is good, jnana is good, bhakti is good. There is a direct way and indirect way. So therefore, Srila Prabhupada and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur they are giving so many proofs to show that bhakti is that path. Nahi ato anya shiva pantha vishata samsrita viha vasudeve bhagavati bhakti yogo yato bhavet. There is no other better path than practice of bhakti. And he gives various verses. Tyaktva swadharmam charanambujam harer bhajan pakvo athapate tato yadi yatra ko va bhadram abhudamushyakim ko varth apto abhajatam swadharmatah. So this is a verse from first canto, fifth chapter, where Narada Muni is instructing Vyasadeva. He says, anybody who gives up his varnashram duties, that means duties towards his family, duties towards the society, but if they continue to practice bhakti, there is no loss for them. But if somebody is practicing varnashram and not following bhakti, they will not get the result of varnashram also. So that's how bhakti fulfills the criteria of Anvaya and Vyatirek. So this another verse also like that. If somebody is doing some tapasya or karma or jnana or dana or whatever, if they're not practicing bhakti, they will not get the result. And then he describes about sarvatra sarvada. And then he quotes this verse from Padma Puran where it is said that you can chant anywhere. There are no rules and regulations for chanting. You can chant anytime, you can chant anywhere. And therefore, and this the second verse is from Bhagavatam, second canto, where Shukdev Goswami is telling to Parikshit Maharaj, Tasmat Sarvatmana Rajan Hari Sarvatra Sarvada Shrotavyah Kirtitavyascha Smartavyo Bhagavanyanam. So therefore, you should practice bhakti in all circumstances, O king. And anybody can practice. It is not that, oh, only Indians can do, Americans cannot do, or Chinese cannot do, or Africans cannot do. Anybody can do. You know. So we'll end because I think AC is again stopped working. So just a few minutes will end. So this is another verse. No problem. We'll end in a few minutes. So this is another verse from the second canto where Shukdev Goswami is telling anybody can practice, whoever they may be. Kirat, Hunandra, Pulinda, Pulkasha, all the various races which are considered to be not so elevated. Everybody can practice bhakti. So bhakti is for everyone. And then he says, okay, how should I practice it? And Vermaji may ask, okay, how should I practice this bhakti yoga? This Tatushloki you have explained to me, how should I practice it? Etanmatam samatishta paramena samadhina bhavan kalpa vikalpeshu na vimuhyati karhichet etanmatam samatishta. Follow my instruction in detail. Paramena samadhina, with intense, extreme concentration. So if you want to practice bhakti, it is not an easy way. It is simple, but not easy. That's why very few people come. Manushyanam sahasreshu. The population of Mumbai is 30 million, 3 crore. Out of that, how many devotees are there? 10,000 maybe. 1 in 30,000. So all of you are rare souls. Sahasreshu, out of thousands, few practice. So therefore, we have to practice. We have embarked on a journey which is, which will give us unlimited benefits, but at the same time, it is not so easy. So we have to practice with sincerity and practice with determination, concentration. Paramena samadhina. If we are not sincere, if we are not focused, then we will not become successful. So therefore, Lord is telling to Brahmaji, you should practice with paramena samadhina, samadhi, concentration. And to the extent we are serious, to the extent we will get the results. And we can see, few devotees who are very serious, they are very enthusiastic. When they practice the path, when they chant, when they read Bhagavatam or read Bhagavad Gita, they are in ecstasy. But those who are like, okay, ye bhi thoda, they are not experiencing the rasa of bhakti. They come to Krishna, they come to attend programs, they come to temples, but they don't take it seriously because they are not diving deep. We can say, I can tell about the, hostel colleges. Students, they are fearful. Seniors, they already tell their juniors, "Dekh, udhar jana, khichdi kha ke aana." Don't enter so much, hairstyle change ho jayega. So if you want to practice spiritual life, if you really want to taste it, just like it is said, if you want to get pearls, you have to dive deep in the ocean. If you are on the superficial level, you will find just fishes and empty shells. So you will find everything in spiritual life. As one devotee is telling, in ISKCON you will find best of Krishna and best of Maya both. Whatever you want, you'll find here. ISKCON is like Kalpataru. What you have come here for, you'll find that. So therefore, Krishna is telling paramena samadhina, with all sincerity, with all concentration, we have to follow it. And to the extent we are sincere, we won't be bewildered. We won't be confused. As Brahmaji himself says, Na bharati me angam rishopalakshate, na vai kvachin me manaso mrishagati, na me rishikani patantya satpate, yanmai ridotkantyavata dhrito hari. He says, oh my son, my mind, na bharati, my words never go wrong. My mind never deters from its path. My senses never go towards sense gratification. Why? Yanmay ridotkantyavata dhrito hari. I have caught hold of the lotus feet of the Lord with great zeal. So the more we catch hold of the lotus feet of the Lord, the more we will be secure and safe. We will not get disturbed by things which are happening around us. So our practice of spiritual life should be steady, sthira bhakti. Sometimes we are up, sometimes we are down. What happens? Sometimes devotees think, "अरे प्रभु जी लग रहा है I'm मतलब pure devotee बन ही गए हैं. I'm not becoming angry. I'm not becoming lusty, greedy. बस pure devotee बनने ही वाला हूँ." And some days he's not seen there, seen for chanting. कहाँ गया? नहीं प्रभु जी मजा ही नहीं आ रहा है कुछ. Up and down. That is called unsteady devotion. Because still the anarthas are there. But whatever may happen, we have to keep on tolerating our anarthas and keep on going ahead, moving forward. So Prabhupada writes in the purport, the secret purpose of the most important Bhagavatite conclusion has been explained by original speaker of Bhagavatam. So original speaker is speaking himself. Shukdev Goswami is speaking the conversation, and that he is telling, Krishna is telling, you should practice with sincerity and concentration. Otherwise, there is no other way. So after that, Lord disappears. So this is the Chatushloki Bhagavata in Chatushloki Bhagavatam. So Lord Brahmaji asked about material forms and spiritual forms, and the Lord explained that his form existed before the creation and after the creation also. So how Lord deals with various energies, what are the various energies of the Lord, and how should I work without pride and lethargy by practice of bhakti. And then he says, now after Lord disappeared, Brahmaji, he started working on what he had heard from Supreme Lord. So Prabhupada, so there is a word which comes in the translation. Prabhupada writes, on the disappearance of the Supreme Lord, Hari, who is the object of transcendental enjoyment for all the devotees. So devotees are happy when they are in touch with Krishna. We may hear the same classes, same Gaur Purnima festival, same pastimes of Mahaprabhu, same Ramayana, same Narsim Chaturdashi, but still it is always new. So devotees are always interested to come in association of other devotees, and that is what gives them taste. Akshno phalam tva drishadarshanam hi tano phalam tva drishagatra sanga jihva phalam tva drishakirtanam hi sudurlabha bhagavata hi loke. So topics about the Lord and topics about the devotees. Not topics about devotees means, अरे मालूम है क्या किया उसने? नहीं मालूम. Not that. Glorification of devotees. They are always new. And that is what should be done. So Brahmaji, he started working for the welfare of all the living entities. And he spoke to Narad Muni. So, just some time back, we heard the conversation between Brahma and Narad. That happened after this. But in Bhagavatam, it is coming earlier. Right? So Brahma explained to Narad Muni, and then Narad Muni spoke to Vyasdev. It comes in first canto. And then Vyasdev is speaking to Shukdev Goswami, and Shukdev Goswami spoke to Parikshit Maharaj. So that is how this whole process works. So one interesting thing, it is described here. Shukdev Goswami says Narad Muni inherited the property of Brahma. What was the property inherited by Narad Muni? Bhakti. Yes. There are various sons of Brahmaji. Daksha and all the other kings, Prajapatis, then Sanak, Sanatan, Sanandan, Sanat Kumar, and then there are devotees like Narad Muni. So Daksha inherited karma. Sanak, Sanatan, Sanandan, Sanat Kumar, they inherited jnana. And Narad Muni inherited bhakti yoga. And that's what he is giving to his disciples. Yeah, that is a story. Yes, yes. Narad Muni in the previous life, he was son of a maid servant, and before that, he was a Gandharva. So that story, that is a different Kalpa story. Kalpa means the day of Brahma. A day of Brahma is called a Kalpa. So in the previous Kalpa, Brahmaji stays for 100 years like that. One day of Brahma is one kalpa. It's called as one kalpa. There's some technical understanding. We'll discuss that. I'll just complete this. So therefore, Shukdev Goswami says that, okay, Narad Muni explained to Vyasadeva. When Narad Muni asked the question to Brahmaji, Brahma explained the same thing. And then Vyasadeva asked the same question to Narada. Narada explained that to Vyasadeva. And now you are asking me, so I am explaining this to you. So therefore, after this, Shukdev Goswami says, now I will answer the rest of your questions, which were asked in the chapter 8. So that's the end of this 9th chapter. Hare Krishna. So we'll stop here. Anybody has any questions, you can ask. Yeah. Yes, madam. So your question, can you just repeat your question?
Narad said that in the previous kalpa, there are stories that he was not so elevated.
Yeah.
But after serving those sages, he became elevated and then got this position of being Narad.
Correct.
So is it like direct son of Brahma or elevated soul, like process?
Direct son of Brahma. In the past life, he was a son of a maid servant. He got association of Bhaktivedantas, the devotees, and he lived his life practicing devotional service, and then he left his body. That happened in the past kalpa, you know. So Brahmaji stayed in the body of, Narad Muni stayed in the body of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu for that time period when no creation was happening. Kalpa means the day of Brahma. At the end of the day of Brahma, annihilation happens. All the lower planetary systems are destroyed. I hope it is making sense, some sense. I can see.
Understand on that. Whatever stories are there, they are related to this present kalpa. So whatever those Daksha Prajapati, जितने भी प्रजापति हैं, वो present kalpa में आए, उसमें नारद जी का नाम आता है.
So the story of the first canto, that is from previous kalpa.
So he remains throughout the life of Brahma.
He remains throughout the life of Brahma now. Some sages, they stay throughout the life of Brahma. Some sages stay for a day of Brahma. Depends on that.
The Narad came before Prajapatis. 10 Prajapatis are there.
We'll discuss in the 3rd canto the creation in more detail, and you will get more. So in that it is described. So Brahmaji had 10 sons born from mind, and 10 sons from, and the various sons born from various body parts of Brahma. So Narad Muni is born from the mind. That's called, he's called as Manas Putra. The best part of the deliberation of the mind of Brahmaji is Narad Muni. That is what is described in the 3rd canto. And all the other, these Prajapatis, they are born from various body parts of Brahmaji. It's like that.
So when this annihilation happens, so that time you say he lives in the body, he lives in
body of Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. At the time of partial annihilation, at the end of every day of Brahma, there is a partial annihilation where all the planetary systems below Swarga, they are destroyed. Bhu, Bhuva, Swarga, then below that is Bhuvar Loka, and then Bhulok means Bhumandal. So all the lower planetary systems are submerged in the waters of annihilation. And then when Brahmaji gets up, he sees a race of creation destroy ho gaya, Just imagine if somebody has to build his company every day, his factory. That is the frustration of Brahmaji. But still he is doing it. Causeless service, selfless service, sorry. So then he creates again. For one creation, only one, for one universe, one Brahma. So it depends on the size of the universe. If the universe is small, ours is the smallest universe. Therefore, our Brahma has only 4 heads. So it depends on the size of the universe. Bigger universe, bigger, more heads. 8 heads, 16 heads, billions of heads. That's what it is described. Okay. So I hope I didn't confuse you more.